Today I'm going to run you through how to remove your wetsuit quickly, both for race day and just for general everyday training, because removing your wetsuit quickly actually takes a ton of hassle out of the process, as well as making you look pretty darn cool down at your open water swim venue. But in all seriousness, it can save you a load of time on race day, so I'm going to run you through a step-by-step guide as well as a few tips. Okay, before we start looking at how to remove your wetsuit quickly, there's actually a couple of key details that you need to know beforehand. So first off, how your wetsuit is unzipped or unfastened. So for example, on mine, I've got a tab at the top here, and then there's a cord here that I need to grab and I pull down to unzip it. You might find that on yours it's a reverse zip, in which case you grab that cord and you actually pull upwards to unzip. I actually used to quite like a zip like that. Now, as this is a how to remove your wetsuit quickly video, you want to make sure that you get really confident with that, and you can actually do it whilst moving, whilst running, perhaps within a triathlon. So my advice would actually be to start off and just get used to that simple action of undoing the wetsuit. Just stand still, so using one hand to grab that tab, undo that top Velcro tab, finding that cord and pulling down. And I'd suggest using one hand for each action, just to make sure that you keep that Velcro apart so it doesn't refasten whilst you're trying to unzip. And then once you're confident with that, then start moving into a run, getting used to, again, reaching over, grabbing that Velcro and pulling down whilst moving. Okay, before we jump in the water, I actually have one final fairly fundamental thing that I want to cover. Now, if I was to try and remove the wetsuit now as it is, I'd actually struggle somewhat because it's dry. I haven't been in the water yet. Whereas when you first exit the water, there'll actually be a layer or film of water between your skin and the neoprene, and that layer allows you actually to whip that wetsuit off fairly quickly and fairly easily. If, however, you exit the water and you stand around for some time, or perhaps you take ages to get to transition, that water will actually start to seep out, and that creates an almost like vacuum effect between your skin and the neoprene, and can actually make it incredibly hard to remove the wetsuit, if not harder than when it was dry. So there is a finite time in which you want to start removing your wetsuit, and I'll talk you through that process as we go on through this video. So for now, I think it's time to jump in the water and show you how it's done. Right then, as you exit the water and you've found your balance, you can take your goggles off of your eyes. Don't pull them off your head though, just simply place them on your forehead. This leaves your hands free to remove your wetsuit. You want to reach around for the top tab with one hand and to the zip cord with the other hand, as we practiced. Once the suit is unfastened, you want to remove the upper body part of the suit right away whilst that film of water is still in there. To do this quickly, you want to drive your elbow back and up with force, whilst also pulling the wetsuit arm in the opposite direction, and then repeat with the other arm. Okay, so now at this point, we've got the upper part of our wetsuit off. It's pulled down to our waist. You can now, at this point, take your hat and goggles off, hold them into your hand as you run through to transition. It's one less thing to do in transition itself, and then it's just a case of getting yourself to your bike within transition or to the first changing tent. Now by this point, a lot of the water will likely have started to seep out, so you want to be as slick as possible. Pull the suit down swiftly as far down your legs as you can. Now you want to use one foot to stamp down on and hold the suit down, whilst you quickly pull the opposite leg up and hopefully out of the suit, and then repeat the same on the other leg. And this leaves your hands free to perhaps even start putting a helmet on, for instance. This doesn't always work, so you may need to intervene and pull the remaining parts of the wetsuit off with your hands. Well, there we go. That is how to remove a wetsuit quickly. I do have some final quick tips to speed things up further, one of which is baby oil. Now apply a little bit of this to your forearms and your calves, and it'll actually allow you to whip that wetsuit off even quicker, because it acts like that water, that film between the skin and the neoprene, but better because this stuff is water resistant to a degree, so it's going to stay there through the swim and afterwards. Another that I've never actually done is actually cutting around an inch or so off the leg of the wetsuit. Now the idea is then it's just easier to get off over the ankle, it's not quite so tight around that area. I've never done it because personally I think, well, the neoprene's there for a reason, it's adding buoyancy to our legs. Also, not forgetting it's probably going to void the warranty on the wetsuit. Another one also is to actually just grab down on the neck of the wetsuit ever so slightly as you're exiting the water and allowing water to flood in. The idea being that you're getting extra water into the wetsuit, not too much, but enough that it's then going to take longer to seep out of the wetsuit, and therefore you're going to have that film in the wetsuit for longer. And then also I talked earlier about that reverse zip. Now not everyone's going to have this on their wetsuit, some people may. You can seamlessly pull that zip up, undoing it, and into removing the arm from the wetsuit. It takes a bit of practice, but as I said, not everyone's going to have it on their wetsuit. Well, there we go. That is how to remove a wetsuit quickly, along with a few tips. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments section below. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If so, give it a like. Don't forget to give GTN a follow on our social media channels and give the channel a subscribe just down below.